Part 2. Andrew Jackson's Presidency, 1829 to 1837. In response to land-hungry white settlers, beginning in 1817, presidents like Monroe, Adams, and Jackson had advocated to remove Indians living east of the Mississippi River into public lands west of the Mississippi. In 1830, Jackson convinced Congress to pass the Indian Removal Act. The Indian Removal Act stated that the federal government did have permission to remove the Indians who lived east of the Mississippi River, as long as the federal government compensated or paid the Indians for their land. The United States wanted to take the Native American land and give them other land out west called the Indian Territory, which is in the present-day state of Oklahoma. The bold blue line in the map is the Mississippi River. Notice how all Indian tribes east of the Mississippi River were taken to the Indian Territory, which is in the present-day state of Oklahoma. However, some Indian tribes were not interested in selling their land. Indian tribes who had heard of the horrific removals that were taking place resisted in various ways. Some, like Black Hawk and his Sauk tribe of Illinois, fought with U.S. forces with varying degrees of success. Other Indians, like Sequoyah of the Cherokee Nation, believed that they could prevent conflict by adopting white culture. He would even go as far as to creating the first writing system that was used by any Indian tribe during this time period. The Cherokee Indians were not interested in selling their land to the United States government. The Cherokee Nation land occupied 3 states, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. In 1828, gold was discovered on the Cherokee land that was in Georgia. In 1830, Georgia tried to force the Cherokee Indians from their land by claiming that they in fact owned the land and not the Cherokee Indians. The Cherokee Indians sued the state of Georgia since they had a federal treaty stating that the Cherokee owned their own independent nation and it was not a part of Georgia. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Marshall stated that the Indian tribe was a dependent nation and that they had signed a federal treaty, not a state treaty. So John Marshall ruled in favor of the Cherokees. Andrew Jackson was not happy with the Supreme Court ruling. As head of the executive branch, it is the president's job to enforce the laws. However, Andrew Jackson and the state of Georgia refused to enforce John Marshall's Supreme Court ruling, and Georgia took over the Cherokee land. The Cherokee Indians tried to hold on to their land. However, they eventually seceded or surrendered their land rights to the United States government in return for $5 million. In 1838, the Cherokee Indians moved to the Indian Territory when the weather had become bitterly cold. The Cherokee Indians' journey to the Indian Territory is known as the Trail of Tears. In 1838, the United States troops forced between 15,000 and 18,000 Cherokee Indians to begin an 800-mile journey to the Indian Territory. Almost 1/4 or 25% of the Cherokee Indians died along the way. Because almost 1/4 of the people on this march died of hunger and disease, the march would be forever known as the Trail of Tears. Here are some images showing what the Cherokee Indians experienced during the Trail of Tears. President Jackson and Congress justified the removal of the Cherokee Indians by stating that the Indians were illiterate and uncivilized savages. Illiterate means someone who cannot read or write. An uncivilized savage is a rude or unmannerly beast who does not know how to treat people or act properly. Congressman and former President John Quincy Adams expressed outrage over the removal of the Cherokee Indians. He is known for saying, "These are crying sins for which we are answerable before a higher jurisdiction." When Andrew Jackson was first elected as our U.S. President, he was seen as the president of the common man because of his modest beginnings and his personality. However, many people did not appreciate Andrew Jackson's forceful manner, nor his actions in the events such as the Nullification Crisis or the Indian Removal Act. His critics in the Whig Party portrayed him as a tyrant and more of a king or a dictator than an elected president.